This episode of Mighty Car Mods is proudly brought to you by us and Mighty Car Mods t-shirts. I am wearing the all-new double-sided black Boosty Boy Goes to Turbo Town.
And I have 3 of the best hatchbacks ever created. They're nuggets, and they're available right now, all 3.
Now, you could get that t-shirt, or you could get this t-shirt, or if you get both, you'll get a little bonus something in your pack. We send them everywhere, all over the world. There's a link down below or a thing popping up. Today, we are back working on 4DMILF. Now, you may have seen that previously we had actual danger to the manifold as Marty tried to bore through the floor.
Whoop.
There's a hole.
Oh, shit.
I wanted to keep that engine in the car, but I did say if it was coming out, I wanted something new. So last episode, Martin went and got something new, which was old.
That's right, I went and got us a replacement engine, and I redefined dropping an engine into a car by dropping the old one onto concrete, completely ruining both it and the concrete. But don't worry, because we're going to improve it by dropping this in. And we've got a special guest coming to give us a bit of a hand.
Is the special guest Benny?
It absolutely is, how'd you know?
Did you see the wheels I got off Marketplace?
He'll love them.
I'm about to show everyone.
I can't wait to hear what he thinks about your wheels. He will tell you.
I will hear about it all day. All right, let's run the graphics. Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods. Things have escalated dramatically while working on this car. It was meant to be a quick fix, a little service of the engine, fix some speakers, and off we go.
So kind of like every project ever that we ever do.
Yep, but now it's a full engine and driveline conversion. We're restoring stuff, we're painting stuff, and over here we have 5 tables worth of parts.
Show me everything.
All right, let's get into it. So the carbon fiber bonnet is looking heaps better. There are still a bunch of scratches visible, but at least it's shiny now, which will go with our show car chic. The front bumper bar came together really well, so the lip is on there now as well. We did repair the top of it here. There's still a little bit of a dent, but that there is going to be covered with the number plate anyway. So that one there can also be fixed permanently because currently there's just cable ties holding this replica Sea West lip on there. Now, when it comes to wheels, I have not been able to find these exact wheels so far. I have been looking all over Marketplace, but interestingly, in the front of this magazine, there is an ad for wheels, and I managed to find a set that is from this magazine. So these here, it's just a set of wheels and tires off Marketplace. It's fairly cheap. That was like $900, I think, for like wheels and tires. Very cheap, and I'm still on the hunt for something that is maybe more exactly what's on there, but for now that will actually get us rolling. Over here, the headlights were done last time, so they got a proper polish. Dave from Custom Spray Mods did that, which was awesome. We've got an X-Force exhaust. Here's all of the other stuff that we painted as well while we had that color out. We painted this all that kind of Volkswagen habanero color. We've since found out that it's a Ford color from 2Sus, but it looks very similar anyway. We're also going to try some dyeing so that we can get some of the color back in the dash. When we cleaned it up last episode, it looked way better, but some of it is just too far gone. So got a bunch of other exhaust things. We went down to Super Cheap Auto and we got all of our stereo stuff from them. So we've got head unit, we're going to modernize it with CarPlay, touchscreen, all of that kind of stuff. We've got our little ISO connectors. We've got speakers for the front and the back. You can obviously go down in store or you can order stuff online. We've got our oil, so Castrol Edge 5W40 is going in the car. Castrol is the only oil that we use in any of our cars. They are a sponsor of the show. Also Australian Clutch Services, so we've got a clutch and flywheel. They sent that down, thank you very much. New accelerator cable because we need that. GFB blow-off valve, we're going for the full whistle, the full trumpet, period specific. Brett from GFB is going to be coming down later, so we'll have a chat with him. All of the white line stuff to get rid of the slop and also make sure that our gear stick works again properly in a proper H pattern. We got some engine stuff. Marty's going to chat with you about that afterwards. Plus, Pro Speed Racing sent us over this Process West top mount intercooler with a new kind of ducting there and vent. We thought we may as well add that while we're here. And then that brings us to our Rexy engine, and Marty is going to tell you what's happening with that.
My name's Martin, I like Subarus, and I'm going to tell you about this engine for 90 seconds. If you can't handle that, we got you over here. So this is an O2 Bug-Eye EJ20, not a particularly fancy STI one or anything like that, but this engine powered Subarus all through the 90s, well into the 2000s. The structure of it hasn't really changed much. This one comes with a TD04, which is a small turbo, but very responsive. So people back in the day really enjoyed the fact you get all that power down low, made them feel really grunty and really aggressive on the street. We also have a 4.44 ratio gearbox, which is going to make it feel nice and snappy, and the matching diff, which will drop into this car. This car essentially was a WRX with some of the best stuff missing. We're going to do a bunch of servicing on this. We're going to replace anything we can get to. It comp tested up just fine, but we still got to cross our fingers that internally it's okay. We're going to replace pretty much anything we can see: hoses, gaskets, rubbers, any of that stuff before we drop it into the car. Now we'll either drop it in from the top or we'll put it in from the bottom. It has a different subframe, that's important as well, and means we've got a different steering rack. I think we have everything we need. If we don't worry, Mechanical Stig, aka Benny, will absolutely be able to correct me on what I've forgotten. That is an EJ20, that's the Subaru gearbox, and it's going in the MILF. How did you know there was a Subaru here? It's almost like I called you and said, come and help me with the Subaru. What do you think? What do you think?
Cool.
Tell me everything about NARX thingies that you know. What was the deal? Why'd people buy them?
It was just a commuter car. It's just a family car.
Why dual range gearbox?
Subaru Australia, for some reason, had this weird thing where all wagons had dual range gearboxes, even from like Leone, L Series, Gen 1 Liberty. Remember all the manual wagons were dual range?
Yeah.
They had that stupid air suspension that always died. Cable clutches were still a thing then.
Yeah.
Gen 2, they went to hydraulic clutch, but yeah, there's a lot to unpack here.
Many differences between NA and WRX
Heaps.
in here.
Yep.
What's off top of your head? What are some of the differences?
Cross member, power steering lines, clutch master cylinder, clutch hose, cruise control location, entire engine bay wiring harness is totally different.
Yep. But people swapped them, hey?
Yeah. And I'm assuming that's what you're going to make me do today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Let me show you this. So this is what I managed to get from Kane, who's a mad dog kid who does wrecking stuff.
Yeah, hectic.
Basically, it was a
Nice.
bug eye that the back burnt. So it was burnt the whole way to the steering wheel.
That's hot.
And then nothing else.
Yeah, nice.
So actually, the engine bay survived.
Perfect.
What are we looking at here?
Looks like you've already had a crack at some sealage,
No.
maybe? Really?
Have not touched it, mate.
It's clean.
Fresh.
It's got new coil packs. EJ205 non-AVCS, which is better for conversionage if... How are we wiring it?
Use a Haltech.
Okay, so we're actually not doing like harness swaps and...
Don't need to swap
Yeah,
harnesses.
hectic. So this is actually going to be a lot easier of an engine to put in. We could potentially even try and repurpose some of the RX wiring.
Yep.
Or just wire the Haltech into this engine loom.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's a not me problem anyway. That's a you problem. So good luck with that.
But what would you do if you were doing this swap and you've got like a seal kit and a timing belt? It makes sense to do that now, right?
100%, bro. Like the access on this engine is 100 times better while it's out sitting on a bench.
Sitting on a bench. This one's going to stay sitting on the bench.
Let's hope this one doesn't fall off.
The last one didn't. That's my fault.
Nothing's really screaming at me
Good.
of badness.
I was slightly apprehensive about this conversation.
Have you not done the belt?
No, the belt looks pretty new,
It's
doesn't
all
it?
fresh, dude.
Yeah, it
like
is pretty
real fresh.
It may be.
Time belt kit looks good. I reckon someone's already done rock cover gaskets because the covers are very clean.
They are.
We've got power steering pump, we've got lines, so that's good.
Yep.
A lot of the turbo specific stuff is still here.
And I've got it up pipe and manifold.
Was this from a sedan or a wagon?
Oh, I'm going to say sedan, maybe.
Yeah, these will be too long.
Oh, because different track.
Yeah, 10 mil difference each side.
Benny, everybody. Oh, good. I knew there'd be something.
Have we
We've got new top mail. We've got TGV deletes.
Oh, that was literally going to be my question.
Yep.
They're nice.
Played this game before.
Yeah,
And
nice.
so that deletes those weird flappy valve things, and also we can put our injectors straight in there. We can put some slightly bigger injectors, which I've got sitting around,
Nice.
which opens up ethanol and other things for later.
Bug eye accelerator cable?
Correct. Accelerator
Hectic.
cable. We've got clutch fork things.
Clutch fork. Have we got the little screw and plug for the gearbox?
I don't know.
Cool.
We got this.
Yeah.
We got this. And we've got all the old stuff too sitting on a pallet. It's broken, but it's there.
We got an airbox?
No, we'll make one.
Yeah. Or just
Snort.
or just a bug eye
I want to
airbox.
redo this snort.
Oh, that doesn't work.
Dude, it will
anymore.
work. We'll make it work.
Yeah, we're gonna need we don't need an airflow meter. Hey.
That's partly the reason why we are Halteching. You don't have to. You can get the stock ECU, you can get the wiring if you do it, but it's a time versus money thing of going, okay, you buy the Haltech, you spend $1 grand or $2, whatever it is, and you chuck it in, and the thing works, and you can get rid of your airflow meter, you can get rid of all the crap, and you've got a nicer tuning environment. And the base map it comes with will run it.
And the thing that people need to keep in mind with Subarus too is if you're gonna go NA to turbo, it's like the whole front half of the car is apart. because all the wiring harness is fully integrated, whereas people that come from like Nissan or Honda land where the engine loom is basically totally separate, just plugged in.
True.
Versus fully integrated engine harness.
Yeah.
I think Suzuki is also fully integrated into the body loom as well.
So we will, for Haltech, essentially need to add a couple of wires for coil packs, and that's kind of it. So Dave's going to come later and just check it for us.
My Dave.
To get it done. But yeah, this, by buying a Haltech means don't have to pull the rest of the car apart. To me, is worth it. So we'll see. And it's also a nicer way to drive the car and check for problems and
Did you
bigger
deliberately
injectors, ethanol, everything.
Did you deliberately push the engine off the stand so we could turbo it?
No, I absolutely was going to leave this NA. That wasn't even a joke.
He's lying.
All right, let's do some servicey things. Work your magic.
Here we have the turbo quad cam version of the engine that we already had before Gravity chopped it, and me. And so I've called in the big guns, who happens to be quite proficient with a rattle gun. While it's extraordinarily tempting to save ourselves a few $100 and not do the timing belt, snapping one and bending valves is not on my wish list, so we're going to play it safe. The timing belt kits come with idlers and tensioner. This is also the time to change water pumps if necessary and check all the cam seals for any leaks. Genuine parts are the go for most of this stuff due to the cost of repair if it goes wrong and because of the consistent quality of the belts, seals and bearings. Of course, now is also the time to change spark plugs, and Benny has a plug of choice which is a copper plug with a heat range of 7 and a slightly extended tip, which honours everyone looking at this car at shows back in the day. Next is a new rear main seal, which will help preserve our mad new clutch and flywheel combo we got from Extreme Clutch. Getting the entire kit means we get new hydraulic bits, a new clutch fork, flywheel disc and cover. Pedal feel will be much the same, but it will handle more torque than a stock replacement. Sensible clutch choice is what saves Subaru gearboxes, and this one will have a 5-speed. The gear ratios mean it may be slightly less likely to blow up, but we still want to give it the best chance of survival, especially considering the owner is a clutch-kicking Nissan driver at heart.
Great progress. Because Benny's here, we are putting an extreme clutch in. The kit comes with a flywheel. It actually comes with everything, which is mad. So you get like fork, you get all the lubes you need, you get the clutch disc, you get the cover, you get a flywheel, which means you don't have to get your old one machined. You know the stuff is all new. New bolts too, which is cool. These ones already have like the Loctite stuff on it. So we're gonna use our clutch alignment tool, smash it in there, put the cover on. All this came from Extreme Clutch, who are down in South Australia, but we got this overnight. So very quick if you are doing something like this. And while the engine is out, so much easier. Once this is done, box can go on.
10-minute job while it's apart versus hours job while it's not apart.
All right, should we put a cover on?
Yeah, we'll give it a clean and smack them on.
Clutch changes are usually a pretty big and heavy job in just about any car, so being able to do this with the engine outside is a massive time saver. It also means we won't be dealing with clutch slip, wasted dyno sessions, or the dreaded fishy stink of failure.
This here is a Subaru tumble generator valve, also known as a TGV. It's got a little flap inside and it's basically used to direct air over the injector at idle to help mix things together so that things go bang in some kind of efficient way. Benny, should they go in the bin?
I mean, for our application, they're not really needed. So we do have some aftermarket billet ones, which are effectively a delete setup. And it means we can put nicer things in there and make it work better. We do also have some upgraded injectors. These are actually Subaru injectors still there at 550cc. Factory, these lighter blue or green ones are a 380. So it means we can put more fuel in if we want to go bigger turbo, bigger intercooler, stuff like that. And I think that the factory ones are just a nice little drop in and a good upgrade.
This is also just massively simplifies things and is also capable of making more power. So those ones there will go in the bin. Do we have to transfer any of this stuff over or is just the lines?
We need the rails.
Yeah.
None of the other stuff because we don't actually have the wiring to run these anyway because this was an NA car and we're then now putting the Haltech in it. There's no wiring provision for these other than the loom for the inlet manifold. So the car side itself has none of that.
Yeah.
So depending on how we attack the wiring, this probably doesn't have provision at all anyway. So
yeah.
It just overcomplicates stuff, especially for what we're doing with this car. Trying to add this back in, it's just not necessary.
Are you into Sexspec, Benny?
I had a pretty shiny car with a fancy interior back in the day.
Did you?
Yeah, it was that auto salon.
What was it?
My Liberty wagon.
Is it blue?
Yeah, blue and black, yeah.
I remember.
Those are the days. Even had some purple suede in it. So
Did you really?
I did, yeah.
See, I remember the car.
Yeah.
I've never got into the back of it,
Yeah.
unlike a lot of people's
Yeah.
mums. All right, great. So let's get some of this stuff in the bin, and I'll apprentice with you. Let's hit it.
Nice. Let's get the whizzer.
When this car came out, Complicated by Avril Lavigne was one of the biggest songs of the year, and she was probably talking about the relationship between car manufacturers and governments with their changing emission standards. Not only that, it only took one region to change their rules, and the entire configuration of an engine would have to change. While the EJ20T hadn't changed much for the 12 years or so since it was first seen in the Liberty and Legacy, around this time you started to see relocated cat converters, tumble generator valves like these ones, and even air pumps that smash air into the engine on startup to heat up the catalytic converters faster. Like Nelly said, it's getting hot in here. This allowed the manufacturers to save money by retaining the same engines in the same cars, but just adding some stuff to them to keep Captain Planet happy. They're also working to tight budgets with more limited engine control systems. Luckily for us, 2 decades of innovation means you can now install some shiny parts that not only improve performance, but combined with a modern ECU and injectors, also get some excellent efficiency and power. And while this is no Toyota hybrid, we are putting a historically relevant car back on the road, which in a sea of mostly boring electric cars is something worth celebrating, rather than it just turning into a puddle of mud, who released the song Blurry that year. The fuel system is looking excellent, so now we can move on to fitting the turbo up pipe, gaskets and studs to make sure we'll always be on time. Thanks, Jarul. Then we can get the gearbox ready to mate up to the engine, which in the end should keep this thing going for at least 1,000 miles. With Vanessa Carlton, we're going to replace all the bushes to get rid of the only floppy knob that's ever been anywhere near this car, that is the gear stick of course, and then once that's all ready, we can lift it up and bolt it to the engine without dropping it onto the floor, which Ashanti would say is just foolish.
So engine and gearbox are united. New clutches in. We just had to find some nuts and bolts and muck around with our starter motor, which is going on. We'll put the bell housing bolts in now and that'll sandwich it all together, and then it can go up and into the car. We'll drop the old subframe out the bottom and put the new turbo subframe in from the bottom.
We're changing over the speed sensor and the reverse and neutral switches, which we can steal off the old gearbox, and that means less wiring changes inside the car. Then underneath the MILF, we can take off this big brace thing that Subaru put on the bug eyes. It'll go back on right at the end, but only after we've done some suspension upgrades. Then once we've disconnected the steering shaft, the NA subframe can come out and get thrown in the bin.
There we go, everybody. Old subframe, gone. It doesn't have the big scoopy outy bits here. For the up pipe is what's different. That is going to go squarely in the bin, along with all this. The rack looks a bit wrecked anyway. So see you later. And now we can put our turbo subframe in with the engine and box attached to it, assuming I don't drop it off the table.
Through the magic of tables and hoists, the car is lowered down onto the subframe and then bolted together.
The engine's in. Well, the subframe is attached to the car. And now it looks like a WRX. It looks so much more how it's supposed to look now.
For sale project car, 95% complete. Just needs
Instagram
engine bay,
finish.
wiring, fuel system, exhaust, engine mounts.
Comes with free Benny.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it does
You
not.
know it does. You love to go with this car and you could just fix it all the time. Me and this table are not as friendly as we used to be. Look at all the crap that came off that motor. Yuck.
Even having done a dozen of these installs myself, it's still awesome to watch a true expert at work. Being able to identify every single nut and bolt, ensuring that it goes back precisely where it should, is the mark of a legit mechanical mind. Also taking the time to replace parts that might seem tiny and insignificant to most, but if left alone take away from the driving experience in a huge way. But now that Benny's worked his magic, it's time to get the exhaust ready for turbo power.
You may have noticed earlier we installed our dump pipe. It is an aftermarket one by X-Force. They actually make headers, up pipe, dump pipe, full exhaust for this car, which is awesome because all the stuff we have is for an NA and it's really old and rusty. So 25 years later, it's about time to upgrade. So these are, I believe, equal length. Do you reckon they're equal length, Benny?
Pretty well.
Might be equal length. We might either lose or change our burble. That's not really as big of a thing as people talk about. I think it's fine, just nice to have new parts on there anyway, with no rust and no holes. So I've got new gaskets. I've got the up pipe here, the up pipe gasket. I'm going to slam these on, and then we can continue kind of putting everything together from underneath the car, and then we'll start on the top.
When I first got my license, I was driving a $300 Gemini. It had mismatched paint, wheels I got from a wrecker, and black seat covers to cover the ugly beige seats. Around that time, 17-inch chrome wheels were considered pretty big, and some of my mates with newer plastic bumper cars were starting to run them. It made a huge difference. I was cruising around in this old nugget, and these guys were getting heaps of looks. Sexspec, although not an official name yet, was fashion, and people did notice you more. You could run a stock muffler and a tape deck, but if those chromies were polished up, you were absolutely getting more attention.
Everyone, Dave is here, because I worked out that not only is it potentially around the same cost, it's way more fun to hang out with Dave than it is to change an entire dash and body loom and everything else and assume that all that stuff that's 25 years old is going to work. So if there is a Dave in your life, this can happen reasonably quickly. This is something you can DIY too. There's heaps of good instructions on how to do it, especially in something like a WRX. This is like perfect era to be able to learn how to do it. But yeah, this will actually be pretty quick, so let Dave work his magic.
2007 was peak JDM Subaru front cut era. Back then, grabbing an STI front cut and swapping literally everything over was the cheapest and easiest way to go. Times have changed and there are no longer container loads of cheap crashed WRXs coming out of Japan. An aftermarket ECU like a Haltech with a wideband and boost controller is going to be the best way to go these days, and means we don't have to pull out the entire dash, do any coding or much fiddly work at all. It's a straight up ECU install, which means get the engine running and then go and get kebabs.
Just so it can retain some of its original purity. It's the only bit I need. I don't need any of the other garbage.
4DMILF's intake schnork was one of the few performance modifications that this car had, so we're going to recycle it back onto the turbo engine. A quick chop and a clean up, a fresh pod filter, and it's ready to go.
We replaced the subframe and we need some new bushes in the control arms, but actually it's going to be easier and quicker to throw some all new arms in Lightline to a kit where you get the arms, the bushes and everything you need. So the whole front end is basically renewed, including links and everything else. It comes as like an adult Lego kit to put together, but it's pretty straightforward. We're going to slap these in the car.
Suspension mods on a Sexspec car were unheard of, but then again these control arms were only a few years old when it got chromies and a paint job. It wasn't unusual for people to detail the entire undercarriage of their cars, then put mirrors underneath them at shows, an impressive amount of work. We reckon we can have the best of both worlds with some fresh arms, bushes, and a handful of upgrades, which these days are much cheaper and plentiful. It seems that years of WRX owners desperately trying to beat each other off the line at track events has certainly paid off in terms of the amount of available parts out there.
It's official, people. 4DMILF is now officially WRX swapped. It's now turbo. It makes the spinny choo-choo noises. Well, it doesn't, but it will. And you know what? This is probably what the car should have had all along. Of course, the original owner didn't. P-plates, money, insurance, whatever. But this is where it needed to go, and now it's gone there.
And this is a huge job, and we got heaps done thanks to the help of Benny and some of our other excellent friends. And it would be actually finished, except I dropped this engine too. When I was loading it out of the ute, I dropped, no, only a little bit this time, but I did break a hose at the front, the little one that goes to the oil cooler. So that's coming shortly, and when I fix that, then we can put a radiator in it, then we can put an intercooler on it, but we have a few other jobs to do underneath. We've got to swap the rear diff, and we've got to put our new exhaust on, which looks mad, to match the headers, and then finish this off. And then it's a couple of wires away from starting, but I don't know when that'll be.
You happy with this one?
I am now.
What do you mean you are now?
Well, I wasn't happy about it when you wanted to do it, but now I'm happy because I wanted to do it.
I want to clear up a little bit of confusion that we saw in the comments from last time.
Yes,
a lot of people were like, yeah, I agree with Marty, you should have swapped it. It was my idea to swap it originally. The reason I didn't want to take the RX engine out is because once it was out, I wanted to put a WRX engine in. So Marty was trying to take the old one out to service it and put it back in. Correct. And I'm like, once it's out, we may as well just put a new one in.
And I absolutely did not push that thing off the table to break an engine on purpose. Not a thing.
Oh, no, of course not.
No.
Absolutely ridiculous. What a conspiracy. Why are we laughing?
It's a proper conspiracy.
Now it seems dodgy, but it wasn't dodgy at all. No, now we seem guilty.
Do we?
But the thing is, it was my idea to swap it. I said if we take the old one out, the other has to go in. Then Marty took it out anyway, then was going to put it back in, then broke it, and then this went in, and then everyone's agreeing with you.
Let's put some mods on.